Hi, my name is Steven and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 things to get rid of in your life. So don't you wish you can get rid of all the clutter in your life? All the non-essential things that you really don't need? I definitely did. There was plenty of things in my life that I wish I could get rid of. A lot of these things through experience I had to learn the hard way that I really didn't need in my life. And really getting rid of that has made my life so much better in the process. These things ultimately didn't help me out in the long term, and I regret not getting rid of them earlier in my life. So in terms of true cost, it cost me a lot to maintain it. It cost me in terms of financial, time, and then energy as well. And I was much better for getting rid of them. As a result, I gained those things back when I got rid of them. So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 things that I got rid of in my life and how they've helped me get back some of that freedom. And let's go. So when you first start taking the step to grow as a person, you realize that a lot of things that you've done in your life, you really don't need. And in the long run, many of those things actually hurt you in the process of being a better person. So here are some of the things that ultimately I got rid of in my life, and it made me become a better person through getting back some of that financial, time, and energy that I really wanted. So number 1, a scarcity mindset. So really the meaning of a scarcity mindset is to view something as finite. People often say that there's only so much money that can go around, or there's so many business opportunities that can go around. That's really what it kind of embodies, is that there's a limited set of something. Or people can say to themselves, if this person is successful, then I can't be successful. And it's an either or representation, rather than both people can be successful. This kind of mindset really embodied what my parents thought of the world. I ultimately, when I was growing up, took on their mindset. So growing up in LA, I was very poor. My family just didn't have a lot of money. We would skimp on everything and we didn't have a lot of vacations. There wasn't a lot that we could do with our money. My parents just saved and saved for a house. So that limited the things that we could do. And my parents were always saving for a rainy day. They were afraid of the future and a time where they didn't have a lot of money. So this mindset really kept them in the mode of saving, but then it was hard for them to spend on things that really enriched our lives. So years later, even when they were able to buy a house with the money they saved, they still carried that scarcity mindset over. So even though we were in a bigger house and we had more luxury goods, we were still in that mindset of saving. So in a vacuum, I absolutely believe that you should save for the future. But they took it to the extreme. They were frugal in everything that they did, and they limited opportunities for themselves and for me. Even though I wanted to do certain things that required money, they always told me that they couldn't afford it, or I didn't need it, or it wasn't necessary to have in my life. And this really frustrated me because as a kid growing up, I wanted to experience a lot of things. I wanted to do certain things. I wanted to find what I was good at. And so I always pushed back on them when they said they couldn't afford it. This really hurt me in my early 20s because I carried over their scarcity mindset. I wasn't able to take risks with my money. Everything that I did had a cost impact on me. And I was neurotic in the sense of saving money. And so I limited my own opportunities and experiences because of that. So it really wasn't until I read the book, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, is when I started to realize that I needed to have an abundant mindset. And basically the abundant mindset is to view the world with abundance. If you want to go get something, there's always an option or an ability or possibility for you to go out and get it. And this abundant mindset carries over to a lot of other things in terms of friends, in terms of money, in terms of business opportunities. There are so many things that if you have the openness to look at the world, you can clearly see that there are abundance of opportunities available to everyone. And we are only limited by the beliefs in ourselves. So with this abundant mindset, I was able to start several different business ventures early on. And although many of them didn't work out, some of them did. And the experience I gained from that was invaluable in my life. It taught me multiple ways in which you can earn money and that you didn't have to rely on one source of income. And there are also multiple ways to live your life. And the one narrative of having one career and extending that throughout your life is just a small piece of the overall puzzle that we can achieve to. I realized that through this abundance mentality, that wealth and opportunity were out there, and you just need the right mix of knowledge and risk-taking to really take advantage of it. So number 2, bad entertainment. So as a kid, I grew up watching a whole ton of TV and movies, and much of it was absolutely terrible. It had no redeeming value whatsoever. It had no value besides killing some time. Even as I got older, some of the shows that I watched them long past their expiration date, which I should have quit a long time ago. And this really bled into movies as well. because I follow certain actors and I just watch their movies regardless of quality. And this had led me to watch several movies that it just wasn't worth my time. So this was something that in my teens and early 20s, I just didn't need to spend time on. This was something that had I gotten more value for my time or spent it on something else, I would have become a much better person as a result. I could have used that time to read more. I could have used that time to study business. I could have used that time to study anything else. But instead, I spent that time on mindless entertainment that really didn't grow me as a person. And now in my early 30s, I start to realize that my time is very, very precious. And as I get older, there's less and less time available due to family and career needs. So I really watch things that are truly unique or something that is in a genre that really captivates me. And I really limit myself to only 1 or 2 shows. That way I can keep up with that particular show and also save time for other things that I want to do in my life. So for me, keeping a limited set of shows and movies a week can help me balance out my time and avoid bad entertainment. That way I can be more selective with what I watch and what I can gain from that. Because you can learn from any aspect of your life, even movies and television shows. So I really want to target the movies and TV shows that will grow me as a person. Number 3, people that just aren't good for us. When I was a kid and growing up in my teens, I would befriend anyone who had similar interests in me. And I would try to maintain that friendship with them, regardless of personality fit. So really, even if they only had 1 or 2 common interests, I would try to befriend and I would carry that friendship for as long as I could with them. So this really grew into a large friends or acquaintance network in college. It was then that I realized that I was spending a lot of time invested in these friends that the same kind of friendship wasn't being reciprocated with back to me. I was putting out more energy to maintain the friendship that I was getting back. And it really frustrated me because from my perspective, I just thought I needed to put out more energy to maintain that relationship. So I would expend more energy to try to get them to hang out or just communicate with them more. But then as I got older and I started to realize how important my time is, it really dawned on me that I needed to let some of these so-called friends or acquaintances go in my life. Because I was putting more energy and time into something that just wasn't viable. Besides the few mutual interests we had, we just weren't a good personality fit. And because I was moving different cities and states, it was very hard to maintain the relationship on my end. I had to put in extra work to try to call them and figure out what time works for them. It was just a mess to maintain the logistics of all that. And the reality was, even some of the stronger friends that I had, we drifted away because we were just in the different environments. Some of the friends in your life only works when the environment is conducive to have a friendship. So for example, if you met someone at a climbing gym and you guys only go to that climbing gym, then it's very hard for you to maintain that relationship and that climbing buddy if you move to another state. So really holding on to people in your life that doesn't make you feel good or doesn't reciprocate the same amount of energy isn't sustainable in the long term. I've been more cautious now with who I let into my life, especially now during the pandemic, because friend networks and social circles have gotten smaller. This really has helped me hone in on who really are my friends. And in the long run, this has helped me really create a stronger network of friends. So number 4, a fixed mentality. So when I was a little kid, I used to have a mentality of if I didn't know how to do something, I wasn't going to be very good at it. And that prevented me from doing a lot of new things. So a fixed mindset is really a mindset in which everything is limited. You avoid challenges or conflicts, you avoid taking criticism. You think that everything is through innate abilities only, that you can't get better at something if you're not already good at it. As a kid, I was very curious and I explored a lot of different things. I had the feeling that if I didn't immediately get good at something, I would suck at it. And I really felt judged whenever I wasn't good at something right away. I had to learn that it's okay to be bad at things. And it takes time for you to develop the knowledge and skill sets to get good at something. This really changed for me when I was in college, from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. I realized that coming into an engineering school and studying engineering, I was gonna be bad at something and I was gonna get good over time. And it's okay for you to fail at the beginning, as long as you don't quit at it. And when I started to realize that, I started to enjoy the learning process because I told myself it was okay. I could fail now, but I can get better and better at it in the future. I didn't see being bad at something as an obstacle. I saw it as an opportunity to get better. In the growth mindset, it's the ability to overcome challenges through hard work and a real desire to learn, even through the failures. And then it comes with the assumption that effort is required to be good at something. And for me, a growth mindset really puts me in a mindset of putting in the hard work. Because the biggest part of a growth mindset is to ask for feedback and to learn from others. Because I've incorporated what I learned from other people into my daily life. So a lot of the strategies and tips that I promote are really from other people that have gone through the trials and tribulations of their own experiences. And through that, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I know that they've already gone through that, so I can piggyback on their knowledge. And this growth mindset really has helped me through the last couple of years in terms of my career, in terms of my extracurricular activities, and in terms of my relationships. Because in every one of those things, it requires a lot of growth and understanding and hard work and effort to really get good or better at. Because if I started with a fixed mindset and say to myself, this is the best that it's ever gonna get, it really limits me in what I can accomplish in the future. Because with that mindset, I can't really see a future where I'm better than before, or that I can become a different person with different goals and objectives. So a fixed mindset was something that I'm really glad I got rid of. So number 5, your environment. So this is a tough one. So in many cases, I left my environment to go to somewhere new. This is when things weren't ideal or I was seeking a new experience. In the past, I've always been a person under constant movement. So whenever I would feel a sense of being trapped or feeling complacent, I would switch things up and I would go somewhere new. So this was really me switching jobs, going to different cities and even different states. Ultimately, all those things I realized that something was holding me back from progressing forward. Something about that certain area limited me, or I didn't feel I was the right fit in that area. So for example, in San Francisco, I felt really out of place. It was an amazing place to be a tech worker and be in the tech industry, but for me, it wasn't my kind of people. It wasn't my kind of style. I didn't want to be in a culture or business mindset of working in Silicon Valley or being the next startup. So ultimately, I moved to Seattle to seek a better culture, whereas the culture and the nature really was able to bring out the best of me because I wasn't super stressed. And most of the other changes that I made with my environment was to just get me out of my comfort zone. I like to be really challenged when it comes to how I live. So in my early 20s, I really wanted to push myself and see what I can accomplish. In many cases, I went to cities and places where I didn't know a single person, and I told myself that I was going to grow a network of friends and establish my life, regardless of the challenges. And so it built great confidence in myself to be able to say I can go into any city in the United States and build a life. Because in many of those cases, when you're going to somewhere new and you don't know anybody, you are challenged in many ways that you wouldn't be if you had the support of your family and friends. Something as simple as just going out with your best friend is very difficult if you don't have a best friend in your state. So really, it gave me a greater perspective of my life. What I was capable of, what my boundaries were, what my limitations were, and how I was able to overcome all those things. And I really learned how to be independent. So in many cases, forcing ourselves to confront a new environment is a very difficult and tough challenge, but in the end, it makes us who we are because we can find out so many things about ourselves and gives us the opportunity to grow immensely from that situation. So those were 5 things that I got rid of in my life. So really in the long run, they didn't have a place in my life because it just didn't grow me as a person. Something trivial as bad entertainment had a detrimental effect on my life. Because as a child, I spent so much time watching TV shows and movies that just weren't really good quality or really good in general, I could have spent that time doing something else more productive. And harder things like getting rid of scarcity mindset or a fixed mindset, it took the realization that it was impacting my life in a really bad way. And it took years for me to modify my life and my mindset slowly to move away from that kind of thinking. So ultimately, I'm a better person for getting rid of those things. And I'm still continuously evolving as a person. There might be more things that I want to get rid of in the future. Those 5 things really made an oversized impact on my life. So I really hope you enjoyed this and you can take some lessons learned from my personal experiences. This video was a culmination of many decades worth of self-reflection. And it wasn't easy to put this together, and hopefully you can take a look at your own life and if it's worth it to you to get rid of them as well. So leave me a comment down below and tell me what kind of things that you want to get rid of in your life. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. And I'll see you next time.